Hi everyone. Well, I'm going to tell you a little story here. I've been asked, well, how was the show you went to that I said I was going to go to? Well, I got a little sad story to tell about that. I got the tickets for me and my daughter, and I was really looking forward to having a one-on-one, going and having a really wonderful good time with my daughter and enjoying her company, and I was hoping she'd enjoy my company too. And it was just she and I going. Well, it's over 52 or 55 miles from the house here over to where we were going. And I booked us, and since it was just my daughter and I, for the 5 o'clock showing, because by the time it got at 7, then I figured we'd be home before it got completely dark. Well, lo and behold, the night before, we was to leave the next afternoon early. We was going to have to leave by 2 or 2:30 to go. My daughter called. And she says, well, I'm asking about tomorrow, Mom. What time you want me to be there? First she said me to be there. And I says, well, we should leave about 2 or 2:30 because it's over 50 miles and you don't drive as fast as your dad or anything. And so it'll take us a little longer. And I says, we should be there, at least they say by 4 o'clock, an hour before the show starts, for me to pick up the tickets for us. And she says, well, I've got something to ask you. I says, what's that? She says, well, if I come over and I drive you over to the show and I get you out of the car and put you into the place where it's a casino, and I get you put inside the place, do I have to be there and go with you into the show? I said, well, yes. She says, well, her significant other said he didn't want to stay home and he wanted to go. Well, there's no ticket for him to see the show, and she knows that. And it's sold out, and there's no way that we could get him a ticket. So what we were thinking is that I'd take you over there and we'd get you out inside the place, and then you'd let us have our car and we'd go uptown and go around while you're there and while you're in the show and everything, and then we'd be there to pick you up when the show's over with and you come out of the show. I says, no. Absolutely not. She said, you mean I can't have the car to go uptown and ride around? I said, no. Absolutely not. Because Dad and I went and we filled up the car and it wasn't completely empty, and it took us $60-some because we're all over this United States. They were talking about gas a-falling. Well, here in Eugene and Oregon, up and down this part, it didn't fall, it increased. And it cost us $4.29 a gallon to fill up the car. I don't know what it is now. But it hasn't come down any. And they say something about the Washington and the California, something about the refineries or something, and that's why it's so high here in the West. That's baloney. But nevertheless, I'm going to get back to the show now. That was enough about. But I said no. because it cost us way over $60 just to fill up the car. And I says, we can't afford to pay for gas. Well, when you get to Florence, there's nothing in Florence to go and see and do. It's grocery stores and businesses, and it is strung out from one end to the other up and down that coastline. And I bet Florence is at least 5 miles long up and down. It's all Florence. And there's just little businesses all along, you know. But as far as there being a theater or anything to do in Florence, I don't know what the people do. But there's no theater, there's nothing there but just stores and businesses. And then there's the beach and the ocean. But then you got to drive a long, long way in Florence there to find a place to really see the ocean and have an open beach. I mean, it's just not there at the town. There's places that the West Coast sometimes is kind of a rugged place. So sometimes it takes a while to find a place where you can go down and view the ocean and have a beach or anything. It's not like the East Coast. So I said, no, you can't have the car to go drive around. Can you imagine? I got to be there before 4 o'clock, and I don't get out until after 7 o'clock. 3 hours or so of them in the car driving around or going places. Now this is what went in my mind. What would have went into your mind? I can't afford it. I could just barely, I was telling my husband, I was just almost ready to call it off anyway because of the price of the gas. It cost us to go over there and back. It'd be over $30 just to drive over there and back of a car. And he says, oh yes, you're going to the show, you and her. Because I'd already talking about that. But when she came up with this, you know, I mean, and her having my car because her significant other didn't want to stay home and he wanted to be with her. And them take my car and it just, so I said no. I says, then absolutely, really come right down to it, you do not want to see the show, do you? Well, I don't really care that much about it, I don't guess. And I says, well, I guess I'll cancel the show. No, Mom, if I have to, I'll come and get you and take you. But I have to be with you? That was the whole point of getting her a ticket, you see? I want to cry nearly over this. And she feels like there's nothing been done. And if she sees this, she'll probably say I'm picking on her. I'm not picking on her. I'm just telling the honest God truth what happened. So I feel like that if she didn't really want to be with me and enjoy my company and me here I have her and we have some daughter and mother time together, and I thought it'd be a fun time and I was looking forward to it. But this just went through me, and I knew good and well that you got to cancel out. You know, you can't wait to the day to cancel. So I just up and told her. I said, well, I'll just cancel the tickets then. I'll just call them up and cancel the tickets. I'm quite sure they can sell them to somebody else because it's sold out and other people's wanting tickets. So I'll just cancel out. She said, well, if that's what you want to do. Well, that's what I done. After we hung up, I canceled out the show. No, what I'd really, because I don't want anybody going and being with me. And that's the way she put it. Do I have to go? Well, if I have to go, she don't have to go with me. I don't want no one being with me and doing anything that they feel like they have to. I want some answers. What do you people think? Am I wrong? I said, well, that's enough. And I did. I more or less hung up. I said, well, I'm through talking because I was about to cry. And just talking about it, I want to cry. So I says, it's such a disappointment. So I says, goodbye. I'll just cancel out the show. Goodbye. And I hung up. And that's what I did. All right, that's what happened with the show, and I didn't get to go see it. I've been asking, so I've told you. So goodbye. And God bless all of you, and I hope your day is real good.